So, Space Marine 2 just revealed the trailer for the post-launch content. And my god, is it better and more exciting than I ever thought it would be. We actually had the roadmap that came out quite some while ago now, and it showed us everything that was going to be coming to the title. I think all in all, it's been a pretty positive reception, but now we actually get some gameplay from some of that gorgeous stuff. Of course, we know that ultra-wide support and private PvE lobbies and battle barging sparring arena is something that is within the game. It is fantastic. I've played a lot with the battle barge. If you haven't seen that update video, go and check it out. But what's actually going to be coming within the future of the game? Well, we know now the title has been a complete success. Every little bit of content, most of it actually, is going to be completely free to the player, which is fantastic. I mean, one of the top comments on the YouTube video itself said, "Key to success equals less paywalls and copious amounts of fun. Changed my mind," which I think is the way that Focus are actually going about this, which is brilliant because I think a lot of companies don't do that. Anyway, there is some cosmetic stuff that will be behind the battle pass and the season pass, I think it is. However, most of the actual content is going to be free. So within season 2, we know we've got new enemies, we've got new PvE missions, the lethal difficulty, and the Neo-Volkite pistol. And then, of course, with season 3 coming later on, we've got a few extra things. But with what's actually coming in the near future, well, have you guys ever seen a Hierophant Biotitan? Well, now you have. This thing absolutely blew my mind. We're back on Kadaku and of course doing a new operations. If anyone isn't aware, the operations go side and side with the campaign. However, now that it's post-campaign and the game has technically been finished, I think these are probably going to be completely separate now rather than actually playing in. Hopefully they'll start to add bits to the story as well. However, yeah, the Tyranids were kind of gone by the end of the campaign before, but nonetheless, we get to fight one of the most brutal, badass enemies I've ever seen. And actually seeing the scale of a Titan within the game itself, I mean, there are little, I say little, there are background models of some of the Citadel Titans and things like that for the Imperium Man, but my god, actually being able to fight one itself, I think the biggest thing we really got are Carnifexes and things like that, or of course the Drake, the Dragon, the Drake, the guy that spits fire as well, but he was pretty well dealt with by a goddamn Dreadnought. Now, how this is going to work within the campaign is going to be interesting because, of course, you as just a few Space Marine cannot take him out on your own. But there are, of course, extra things we can see fighting with these turrets as well and being able to shoot them from afar. So I'm assuming that this is all going to be sorted within that operation itself. Now, there is a new difficulty. We know that the game is pretty hard already. I mean, I was fighting on the second hardest difficulty, and I struggled if I wasn't with a friend or another player. So the fact that we're now getting the lethal difficulty, I am interested to see if this is even possible. I'd love to try and complete the game with it because this really will be testing all of your skills, especially fighting things like the Hell Brutes and stuff like that. But let's talk a little bit about the cosmetics. Well, the Dark Angels Champion Pack and Cosmetic Pack is within the game. This is alongside some of the skin packs. Of course, you've got all new pauldrons. You've got breastplates. It looks goddamn awesome. I absolutely love the Dark Angels. And this is kind of just a hint of what's to come in the future because there'll be a lot more in terms of cosmetic packs. Now, you also have the Bulwark having a complete overhaul, having a beautiful new shield design, and of course, those winged helms. The Dark Angels are absolutely awesome. I, myself, am more of a Salamander, but hey, look, I love them anyway. And this is something that a lot of the community, I think, agree on, is seeing all of these chapters and Space Marines in 2024 4K graphics and textures is something that I've always hoped we'd get eventually, but now it's actually coming to fruition. It's more incredible than I could ever have hoped. But this is just what's coming in the near future. There is still quite a bit on its way soon. For example, in Season 3, we're going to be getting even more PvE missions. I'm assuming new operations, with of course a new PvP game mode. Now, the PvP itself has been somewhat successful. I personally haven't delved too much into it. I think personally it works great as a horde co-op mode. the PvP kind of ruins my idea of what a Space Marine is, because everybody's made of paper within that. Now, that will include prestige ranks as well, and another Battle Barge expansion. But let's get on to the important thing that I think most people are waiting for, and this is the new enemies. There was a lot of speculation whether it being a new faction, whether we go back to the Orcs of Space Marine 1, or there'd be the Necrons, as we've had hints in that in the campaign. But it sounds like, from, well, what they've been saying in the trailer, that this is going to be new enemies within the Tyranids and the Thousand Suns. For example, different types of Terminators or different types of Gaunts, that kind of thing, rather than an entirely new faction, which, whilst I can't lie, somewhat disappointed, is very realistic. I think wanting a completely new faction to come to the game would probably be something absolutely insane. And whilst I'd absolutely love to fight against the Necrons, that would definitely be a campaign mission rather than just an updated objective mission. So yes, we are getting expanded Tyranids and Thousand Sun enemies rather than actually going any further into new factions yet, at least. I can't wait to see where this goes. There's so much to look forward to in Space Marine 2, and I think it has been so popular that there is no way that they're going to be stopping support on this game anytime soon. After the game was as successful as it was, and when I say successful, it held its spot in the top 10 games on Steam for such a long time. It's still getting a 30-hour peak of nearly 31,000 concurrent players. And sure, that is a far cry from the 200 or 250,000 players that were on it at launch. But it is, once again, a story-driven campaign. I think the multiplayer is probably a lot less successful than they maybe would have wanted. They're going to carry on supporting it. But at the end of the day, I think people do play this for the co-op and the single-player missions. So adding in more things like the objective and the operation missions is going to be a win as far as I can see it. Especially because all of this is coming in completely free. So far, it is still one of the most popular games on Steam in terms of positive ratings, with an 81% out of 104,000 user reviews, which is absolutely incredible. And that's not to mention the other platforms that this game is on. I think most people have been focusing on how successful it has been on Steam, but this game has expanded between other and all platforms. And if I'm going to be honest, this for me is the game of the year. I think they've done a fantastic job with it, and the fact that we're getting more free content can only be a positive thing. But just remember, guys, PC Gamer gave this a 6 out of 10. A game that ends with this